Hello from AxiomSpace Mission Control in Houston, Texas. I'm Sonia Gavin-Carmacay. As we near the conclusion of the Axiom Mission 2, currently underway on the International Space Station, today is our final mission update. This has been an incredibly successful mission for Peggy Whitson, John Schaffner, and Saudi national astronaut Ali Al-Karni and Rayana Barnawi. With the remaining time on station, the crew is focused on packing the return cargo and preparing for undock. To give us a sense of what this crew will experience on their way back to Earth, I spoke with AxiomSpace Chief Astronaut Michael Lopez Alegria, who is currently in training for commanding the Ax-2 mission. Mike, it's good to see you. Thanks so much for taking some time. I know you're in some busy training right now.
It's good to be with you, Sonia.
I wanted to get a quick insight into how you think the Ax-2 mission is going so far.
It seems to be going great. I mean, from everything I read, they're doing tons of science, a lot of STEM outreach. They're busy. In fact, I read this morning that they're actually ahead of their timeline, which is kind of unheard of. So by all accounts, it's going swimmingly.
So as they wrap up this time on station, they're getting ready to return back to Earth. Can you step us through the process of packing up, getting ready to come home, and what the experience is really like to get back to Earth?
Sure. Like a lot of things, it's a lot of hurry up and a lot of wait. So first thing, you've got a very specific deadline to start a process by which the Dragon undocks from ISS. And so you're generally scrambling at the last minute to get all the stuff packed away, people suited, everybody in their seats, leak checks complete, et cetera. And then the leak check itself on the hatch takes quite a while. So you're basically sitting in there with nothing to do. And then all of a sudden it's time to undock, bang, 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 a lot of burns, a lot of excitement. And then it depends. Sometimes the splashdown occurs pretty quickly after undock in a matter of hours. And sometimes you spend the night, again, in a Dragon capsule like we did on AX-1. So I don't know what the timing exactly will be on AX-2 because they generally don't figure that out until pretty late in the game. But in some cases, they will be staying in their suits that they wore for undocking, and will wear them all the way through splashdown. And in others, they'll get into their regular clothes, they'll have a meal, they'll have a sleep period, and then start the whole thing the next day. And then the entry itself, you turn the capsule around backwards so that you're firing retrograde, as they call it. You're lowering your apogee so that your entry point in the atmosphere is known, and then the G's come on pretty slowly at first, and then pretty strong. I mean, you're above 3 G's for a little more than a minute and a half, above 4 G's for almost a minute. But again, the G's are pretty tolerable because they're into your chest, not from head to toe, which is much easier to take. And then you're sort of back to really low G until the parachute sequence starts. And that's pretty fun. I remember, and I'm sure Peggy this will resonate with her as well. On the Soyuz, after having spent quite a long time in space, it was a little unpleasant. There's a lot of, bouncing around and jostling. And in general, it's a roller coaster ride. But on a short mission, it's pretty fun. I mean, it does feel like a roller coaster ride. And then once the chutes are out, it doesn't take very long to get to splashdown, and you start counting down the meters, 1,000 meters, 800, 600, et cetera. Splashdown, smoother than I remembered in the Soyuz for sure. And then generally the recovery ship will have those guys on the boat and hatch open in less than an hour. So it happens pretty quickly. Exciting times. The whole time is fun.
So when you splash down and you're in that 1 hour wait period, what's going through the crew's mind? Are they excited to be home? Are they feeling again like hurry up and wait? What's the feeling in the Dragon at that point?
I remember a lot of adrenaline. I mean, because it's a pretty dynamic phase that you just went through. And I think there's a certain amount of bittersweetness to it because the mission's over, but at the same time, you're anxious to, see your friends and family again. So like a lot of things, there's a lot of mixed emotions. But we were pretty upbeat. We'd been on board for a very long time compared to what we were supposed to be. It depends when Peggy and her crew get to undock. Sometimes, maybe they'll wish they had spent more time on board. Maybe they'll be glad to have gotten home. It's always a mixed bag.
As you prepare to leave, you've made friends with the crew on the International Space Station, the folks that are there for the long duration. Is there any sort of thing that you do up there to kind of cap the stay for the AxiomSpace crew?
Yeah, it's definitely tough to say goodbye. I mean, anybody that you've flown in space with, they're your brothers and sisters. I mean, they become family, and like any departure, it's a little tough to say goodbye. But at the same time, you're thinking about the timeline and getting all those things, all the boxes checked that you need to do before you undock. So again, you don't really have time to dwell on anything. It just happens very, very quickly, and then you look forward to seeing them back on the ground.
That's true. Everybody comes together again on Earth.
Absolutely.
So the Axiom 2 crew is wrapping up to prepare to come home. You're preparing for the Axiom 3 mission. How do these missions prepare us for any future missions?
What's a really important phase of building the Axiom segment, which then will become the Axiom station. And what we're doing in all of these, what we call precursor missions, is we are learning how to work with NASA and the other international partners on the ISS, as well as them learning to work with us, because ultimately we want those partners to be part of our customer base. So they need to be comfortable with the way we operate. And of course, we need to understand, we're grooming a brand new flight control team and training team, et cetera. And so all of these things add measurably to the progress toward having an Axiom segment and an Axiom station.
And we're really building history here. We're writing history. All of these missions really teach us something new every single time. So I look forward to having those conversations with you when you're on orbit and saying, okay, you're up there with Ax-3. What have we learned and what are we going to be bringing back? Are you looking forward to it?
100%. I mean, anytime you get to go to space is an absolute privilege. And I would be nuts not to say that I'm looking forward to it. It really is an honor to be able to lead another crew back to the ISS and continue, as you say, building history.
Thanks so much, MLA. I look forward to talking to you when you're back here in Houston after you're done training.
All the best, Sonia.
We are looking forward to seeing this crew back on Earth. With their return home scheduled to begin May 31st, there are 3 major phases of their journey set to broadcast live on AxiomSpace.com. These webcasts will cover hatch closure, undocking, and then splashdown. These operations are dynamic and therefore subject to change, so please visit our website for the latest timing on each. As we bring this mission to a close, we celebrate how Ax-2 is demonstrating that the opportunities presented in microgravity are moving beyond the partners of the ISS to include more countries, institutions, industries, and individuals than ever before. This is how AxiomSpace is expanding access to low Earth orbit and building history. I'm Sonia Gavankar-McKay, signing off from AxiomSpace's Mission Control. Go Ax-2.